Okay, so well, today is a very fruitful day. I a lot of things happened today. So I guess I'm not gonna talk too much about what happened because I'm gonna talk about it all over again anyway. But basically, I went to Grant's house, or apartment, and Natalie and Oliver were already there when we arrived, and we had lunch. We ordered a pizza. It was kind of expensive, but it was worth it. Not really worth it, actually. One of the pies were not so good. And then we basically, instead of doing revision like we're supposed to, we were sort of, either, chatting, looking at YouTube videos, or, Grant and Natalie are in Grant's bedroom, whatever the hell they're doing. And me and Oliver just trying to hear what's going on inside the bedroom. And it was a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure they didn't do anything stupid yet anyway. And eventually we did do a little revision. We did a little homework. And then afterwards, at around 6 p.m., we left. And, oh yeah, we drank a little beer too. Almost forgot about that. Like some, not traditional, but one of the more local beers in Hong Kong called the Qingdao beer. And I drank a little bit of that. It's 4 point something %, and honestly, it's not that bad. I mean, in terms of alcohol, it's not that bad. Still, I'm not that used to the taste of the fermented, wheat, I think. Also, I forgot to mention that when I went to Grant's place, I was supposed to take a bus there, and it's supposed to take a very long time. And I took the bus, and the correct one, but in the wrong direction. And I got off the bus at one station, realized that I got onto the right bus on the wrong direction. I went to the bus station across the street and took the same bus to find out that I'm still on the wrong direction. And then so the bus went to the other side, where it's the last station of the wrong direction. And then I waited there for 15 minutes, and then I went all the way to the other side of the Hong Kong island, and it took me 2 hours. I was super duper late. I was 1 hour and 30 minutes late. It's bad. Anyways, after 6 p.m., we actually decided to go back to my district because there's food there, and we had some Malaysian and Singaporean food. Which is interesting because Grant is Malay, half Malay, and Natalie is half Singaporean. We had dinner there, and then afterwards, with Oliver as well, and then afterwards we went to another dessert restaurant and had dessert restaurant, yes. And we had the mango ice and the Yakult ice. Well, Natalie picked the Yakult ice. I had the mango ice. Not ice cream, ice. It's different. And, I'm, kind of full right now, but apparently, here's the thing. Apparently, my help and my younger brother saved me a few sushi. And I'm feeling really full right now, so I'm not really interested in eating sushi right now, so I really don't know what to do with these. Oh gosh. Almost had a Tyler 1 right there. But yeah, it was really fun. And then later on, Grant and Natalie left, and I brought Oliver to a nearby bus station where he would take the bus back home, and then he left, and that's it. Yay. Okay, it's about 12:20 after midnight right now. Just did a video on the Oscar nominees. And I'm going to do some revision on chemistry right now because I have this huge 5-hour-long chemistry exam tomorrow. 2 exams, actually. which is really messed up, but I just want to talk about what happened today, which is also pretty crazy. Not as crazy as yesterday, but kind of interesting. So after school, Natalie was like, yo, wanna do revision together? And Maria went along, and then Grant later went along. And then so me, Natalie, Grant, and Maria, we went to this little cafe restaurant place inside a bookstore, and we sat down for like a couple hours, and we just talked. We never really did any revision. We did revision for like the last 15 minutes or so, but we talked for the most part and ate French fries, which tasted great. And, you know, because I'm around, so we started talking about, you know, very serious stuffs. But how did the conversation start? I think I was talking about how talking about how Ronald and Suki were like, you know, questioning Natalie, and like, and I said, I don't trust Ronald all that much right now. And then Grant's like, yeah, you know, Ronald, I don't really trust him. He hides a lot of secrets, maybe even more than Andy. And Grant said, yeah, Ernest may be actually the nicest guy in my gang, and like some other people, they hide dark secrets, and they're not as good of a person as they seem. And then we started talking about people, how, you know, they hide secrets and they think deep. And then Maria suddenly suggested that she had 8th grade syndrome, and I was like, whoa, what? So people know about this, you know? And I had the anti-8th grade syndrome, not the 8th grade syndrome, but a lot of people actually had the 8th grade syndrome, especially, you know, Natalie and Jordana. And I talked about, you know, like philosophies and lists and stuff, and we talked about, you know, how there are different types of people, and like sociopaths, like Olivia, and psychopaths. No, sociopaths like Jordana, and psychopaths like Olivia. And I talked about Jordana, how she was such a different person before 9th grade, and Maria's like, no, don't talk about her. She sucks. I hate her. And it was a really interesting conversation. It just went really deep. And, you know, it was like, and we also talked about regrets, like school life is about to end, it's like life is ending, and I and Maria, both of us had a lot of regrets. And we talked about, you know, just friendships and memories, and how we shouldn't have done these things and should have done these things, and how it's just very sad and our school lives are all wasted. And it was a pretty depressing but also pretty interesting conversation, so that's pretty cool. It's January 21st right now, and it is the last normal school day of my life. Yeah, I mean, secondary school / high school anyways. I haven't been to college or university, but it is the last normal school day in Hong Kong, and in the necessary educational systems. And it's honestly depressing, and it's kind of different for everyone else. For most of the other people in my school, they are pretty satisfied and pretty happy with what they got out of their school lives, but not me. All I have are regrets. There are nothing but regrets that came out after this school life. And they are the kind of regrets that you kind of can't move on over. You kind of can't get over them for the rest of my life. Wherever I'm at, whenever it is, whatever I'm doing, these regrets will forever haunt me like metal chains tied to my back. And until the day I'm lying on my deathbed, these regrets will still haunt me like ghosts. And it's saddening. It's tragic, to be honest. My school life is one comical tragedy, and it's full of missed opportunities, mistakes, missteps, misunderstandings, and maybe somewhere in a parallel universe I have a way better school life, but not in this one. In this universe, in this timeline, I have the most underwhelming and the most uninteresting, and that's an understatement, the most offensively inoffensive school life I can ever have. And in my opinion, it's even worse than having like a terrible, a downright awful school life where every single second I'm looking over my shoulder, I'm scared of being assassinated, scared of being kidnapped, caught in between webs of lies and secrets, dealing with sex and crime. My school life is worse than that because it's blank. It's an abyss. It's nothing. It's a deep black hole that doesn't have an ending, where I just fall and fall and fall. My spirit just continues falling through this endless hole, this abyss, and I'm slowly being deteriorated by the void. My spirit, my will to move on just get devoured slowly by the vast emptiness of what I've done in this school. It's truly tragic, and maybe one day I'll get over it. Maybe one day I'll move on and say, hey, maybe my life will be more interesting from now on. But I don't think that's the case. I think I've already hit a peak where my life becomes the most interesting, because from now on until the rest of my life, everything's going to be very routine. It's going to be patterns, and it's not going to be very interesting. In fact, it's going to be repetitious, and I'm going to lose track of time. I'm going to lose track of identity, and one day I'm going to lose my sanity and might as well disappear. Yeah, it's sad. But of course, it's not true that I have done completely nothing. In the first 2 years of my high school life / middle school life, aka secondary school life, I did do some pretty insane things. I did do something that is just incredibly off the rails. When you, I guess, put your standards in normal senses of morality of, I guess, 11, 12-year-olds. But I failed at everything miserably, and even though in the first semester of 8th grade, it seems like I have won the Great War, and I have acquired very powerful, mesmerizing allies. But that is indeed false. That is just an optical illusion, a spiritual illusion, in fact, because what came after is torture. It's pure torture, in a whirlpool of resentment and hatred and bitterness, and most importantly, emptiness. A tornado of emptiness where your bones and the bone marrow inside your bones are invaded by pure emptiness, and it hurts. It truly hurts. I tried my very best to, I guess, break that pattern and start living a school life worth living. But because of the fears that I have developed after the insane incident at the end of 8th grade, I find it difficult to move on or to grow while everyone around me are growing rapidly. So everything from then on are missed opportunities and missteps and mistakes, and I could have kept talking to Mary and Linda. I could have made friends with, Tom or Grant or Oliver. Once again, in 10th grade, I could have joined the school cabinet. Maybe some people in school will laugh at me, but at least I will be more popular. And I would have joined the Model United Nations competition, not only to boost my repertoire, but also to gain the experience and be a part of something great. I also would have signed up for, I guess, being a staff or an official right off the bat, immediately in 9th grade. I would have done so many things. I would have joined the campus TV and I would make more friends there. I would be more important there. I may be able to start a reformation or a tiny entertainment revolution of some sorts to the school. Maybe I could be of amazing asset in terms of art and entertainment to this school, but instead I come in and I go like a whimper, like I never existed. More insulting than being a speck in the sea, being a needle in a haystack. The importance of my existence is so small. It will honestly shock you how small it is. And yeah, it's all regrets, and I guess I have to force myself to move past that and try my best to keep looking forward, and I guess pretend that it's okay when it's really not okay. I gotta pretend. I gotta pretend that everything that happened in the past 6 years were totally fine, totally pleasant, nothing terrible. I gotta pretend, and if I pretend hard enough, maybe one day I'll fool myself. Maybe one day I'll move on. And such a damn shame. Such a damn shame. Anyways, I digress. I should keep talking about something that is less on my mind. So there isn't much going on lately. Of course, there's this huge Mary thing that had been going on for 3 years now, where I really want to talk to this person. And in between the Christmas break and the Chinese New Year break that's gonna start tomorrow, I didn't talk to Mary at all. Not a single word. And that's surprising, okay? Well, first of all, it's not completely my fault. Mary didn't show up that much, that frequently. She's just, I guess, hanging out in classroom C while I'm stuck at classroom A. And then, but yeah, I still have 3 things to tell her and 3 things to ask her. And then aside from that, yeah, everything else just terrible. Like, my relationship with everyone basically are okay. I'm a really inoffensive person, really harmless, and maybe that's why people aren't that, crazy about me, but people don't hate me either. Like now people don't hate me, and I can actually socialize with people, I wish I could, I guess, reunite with like Linda or Wendy or Queenie, who's now in New Zealand apparently, so I can never say anything to her ever again. I was gonna be like, say a goodbye to her before, I guess, I never see her again. But I guess I don't have that chance to to say goodbye anymore. But I still have the chance to say goodbye to people like Wendy, who sat beside me back then, a few years ago. Now a hero, apparently, got caught by the police. Unfortunately, a hero, indeed. But, you know, she doesn't act like a hero. Neither is she one, but she kind of is, in a sense, you know. Wendy and 4 other people, they you know, it's a good thing they weren't sexually assaulted or anything, and they come back in like one piece, and mentally stable, I guess, I think, maybe, like, judging by the way she acts, like she's smiling and laughing. It just genuinely warms my heart that she came back to she's able to go back to school and go back home in one piece after 48 hours of imprisonment. So shout out to her. And then we have Bernice. I still need to talk to her. Her birthday gift is still up there from 5 years ago. I'll tell her about it, and she'll be fucking shocked. Like, wow, you still have it. I thought you burned down the gift. No, I didn't. I'm a man with a heart. And then Linda, she's the person who started the whole Civil War thing, which destroyed everything that's left inside of me. But she's also the exact same person to, I guess, temporarily reform the secret organization that I have established a few months earlier. How poetic, how poignant. I have to talk to her, man. And of course, Mary. I want to tell her about my diaries, and she would be touched to see how much effort I put into my diaries. I don't know if she'll appreciate my honesty. I'm going to be super fucking honest in front of her. I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm shit. I'm a shit person, okay? I'm useless. I'm slow. I'm weak. I'm fragile. I'm vulnerable. I'm easily affected emotionally. I'm not that smart. I'm not that intelligent. Maybe I can speak English, but that's not a talent. That is a basic skill. And I basically suck at everything else. Maybe Mary will understand that, and maybe Mary will be like, you know, kind of nice and kind about it. Hopefully she does. And yeah, I'm gonna tell her about my short films. I really don't want to piss her off, but she's gonna be one of the characters, and it's gonna be fantastic. I'm also gonna... I realize one thing. I cannot be in her life. No matter what I say or what I do, I will never be a part of her life. I can only do one thing, and that is introduce her to good music. Or I guess recommend her good music. And every time she listens to those music, she'd be like, oh yeah, one time this guy, you know, he told me about this band, and you know, I guess that's one thing that I can do. That's the only thing that I can do. And it actually makes a lot of sense, because if you look back at the piece of paper that we passed around during 7th grade, what we talked about on that piece of paper are basically music related. So Mary's a music person. Mary's an art person. And Mary's artistically liberal. And that's fucking awesome, okay? It means that she's not stuck with one style. She appreciates all styles, and she actually appreciates different art forms. And I'm gonna tell her about Death Grips, and if she likes it, fan-fucking-tastic. If she doesn't, I guess I'll recommend another band or artist. But like, I just really wanna, I guess, pick her brain as well. Just really wanna know the true personality, her true motives, her true the person that she is. But yeah, other than that, I have to do the album review right now, and it's like 9 p.m. I don't want to starve to death. But I'm not really interested in eating food anymore. 66 days, 66 days until DSE. There's no time for happiness. There's no space nor need for any speck of positivity from now on. It's all inhumanity. It's the path I've chosen and the path that I've not chosen. So yeah. So right now it is January 23rd. Second day into my 12-day Chinese New Year break. Also 65 days left. And then it's gonna be the friggin' exam. I don't have much time left. Fuck. So I'm gonna do a little chemistry later on. I plan to do chemistry later on. And tomorrow I'm gonna do a little Chinese plus maths. Chinese is difficult, so I'm gonna put an emphasis on Chinese, and then later on, I guess physics would be cool. I guess I should do some physics. Anyways, I am currently in the mood to talk about school once again, because I think yesterday or no, a couple of days ago, it was the last day of school life. Or maybe it was yesterday. No. A couple of days ago, it was the last day of normal school. And yesterday, I did talk about that. But I never actually talked about the things that had happened in detail. So I'm going to do that. Let's go. So it is after the Christmas break, and on December 31st, it wasn't a school day. Of course it isn't, but me and a lot of other classmates, we signed up to do a chemistry exam, a mock chemistry exam in a school nearby our school in the same district. And we took the exam, and not every single person went there. Mary didn't go there, fortunately, because when I arrived, the exam venue, I was actually late. Okay, so I'm gonna start off from the beginning. On that day, I went to this Vietnamese restaurant in this mall nearby to join Natalie, Grad, and Oliver. We had lunch, and then afterwards we realized that we were totally late for the exam, so we ran over there, and I didn't even have time to do revision and all that, so we ran over there, and it was already started. The exam already started, and people like Olivia, like a lot of people from my class are there, like Olivia, Marty, was Marty there? I forgot. Leo wasn't there. Leo and Pink weren't there, but Olivia was there, Anna was there, Selena was there, Russell was there, Suki didn't go. And so there's that, and then a couple people from Class B and Class C went there. Anyways, I took the test. Paper 1 was tough, but paper 2 was relatively easy. And while I was doing paper 1, I heard someone singing, but I didn't know who is that. It's not Natalie, definitely. Natalie sits in front of me, and I ask her about it, and she's like, no, of course, why would I sing? So I think it may be Olivia, who is actually a low-key psychopath or a freak. Anyways, but you know, Olivia is a chill person. As far as psychopaths go, she's a pretty chill psychopath. Yeah, when I arrived there, I was like panicking. Everything was on the ground. I dropped an eraser there. I dropped my correction fluid there. I dropped my jacket there. It was fucked up. And then afterwards, the sky was gray. The weather sucks. It was cold. It was grim. It was cloudy. Jordana told me that she accidentally did material chemistry for paper 2 for the electives part, where we need to choose 2 out of 3 for the electives. So we needed to choose question 1 and 3, which is analytical chemistry and industrial chemistry, but she accidentally did material chemistry, and it's hilarious. And yeah, afterwards, me and Natalie went back home on the bus, which is sad because originally I was like, hey, what if I spend my last day of the year in Hong Kong with the people that I want to spend time with? But at last that didn't happen. I mean, I did hang out with Natalie briefly. Cedric didn't come, unfortunately, so there's that. Anyways, on the next day, January 1st, first day of the year, I actually went to join Cedric and Tyrus on a protest, which is really awesome. It's supposedly an exciting start to the year, but actually January 1st has to be one of the worst days of the year already. It's going to be on my list at the end of the year, one of the worst days of the year. So me and Tyrus and Cedric, we were supposed to be at Victoria Park, where we just we go through the park and we walk in the streets and we just protest. It's a very peaceful protest because it's daytime and we're a bunch of moderates here, so it's a very peaceful protest. And so I was at the subway station, and me, Cedric, and Tyrus, we were like a few districts, like 2 or 3 districts away from Victoria Park. So we had to run over there. So we did. We ran over there. And it was incredibly tiring. And then when we arrived there, we were stuck because there were just so many people. We just stood in the middle of Victoria Park for like 2.5 hours. And then afterwards, suddenly word came that the police only gave us 30 minutes to disperse the crowd. And there was like at least a couple million people there on that day. And it was super crowded, super packed, and the police only gave us 30 minutes until it was illegal to protest. So it's ridiculous. It's downright ridiculous. So at the end, everybody's running, and then the sun starts to set, which means it's about to be battle time. In the daytime, in morning, when the sun is up, it's a peaceful protest, and at night we all go back home, and the fighters, they go on the streets and they start fighting and stuff, which I am very much not eager to join. It's dangerous as fuck. But the sun was already setting, and people were like, fuck, they're coming. And then another guy shouted, like, a few minutes ago, the cops had already arrived North Point, which is a district in between Victoria Park and my home, right here. So I couldn't go through North Point because I died. At that point, people had formed a human chain to pass resources. People started to dig up bricks for the roadblocks. People started to dismantling the fences and moving from point A to point B. People with, gas masks and things started to come out, and it was incredibly intense. I was still filming for my vlog because it's important to vlog this stuff, to raise awareness, also to just document what the hell's going on. And it's a very terrible idea to vlog. People, like this one guy was like, dude, stop filming. And then this other guy was like, are you taking any photos? Are you taking any photos? No photos. And so I did film a couple clips secretly, but I just can't do that overall. It was a mess. And so me, Tyrus, Cedric, we ran all the way up the hill and went down on the other side to take subway. And then on the way, I realized that my wallet was missing, which is the worst part about that day. I lost my wallet, and in it is 200 Hong Kong dollars, 50-something dollars on the Octopus card. The Octopus card is gone. Hong Kong ID card, gone. School ID card, gone. Library card, gone. And most importantly, the movie tickets that I've been collecting for 2 years, all gone. Plus, the worst part is the little memorabilia, this little happy birthday sign on the birthday cake that Linda, Jordana, and Cedric bought me in 9th grade. which got utterly destroyed by Keith and Max. Gone. I didn't get to try the cake, of course, but this thing, I've been keeping this thing for 4 years now. And if I ever see Linda again, maybe I would show her that, but I can't do that anymore because it's gone. I do have photos of those things though, but still, it's such a fucking shame, and at the end, I was just defeated. I was utterly defeated. Anyways, January 2nd is the first school day of the year, and immediately, I didn't even know this prior, but at the night of January 1st, I realized that there's going to be a physics pre-mock and a Chinese pre-mock on January 2nd, and I'm utterly, totally fucked from top to bottom. And I have to admit, I sucked at the physics pre-mock, but the Chinese pre-mock wasn't bad. And on the same day, I asked Hanz if I could join their graduation trip, because it's traditional that after graduation, groups of friends are just gonna, go to other countries and have fun and, wrap up their school life in a high note and a happy note. So I was gonna join Hanz's gang alongside with Tom, who is a friend of mine, Nick, who's a friend of mine, Leo, who's a friend of mine, Pink, who's a friend of mine, Marty, whom I can talk to, Adam, whom I can also talk to, Harry, whom I can also talk to, AJ, who's not so close to me, and Hanz, who's okay with me. So I'm cool with the group of friends, and I have been asking Hanz for a long time, like, hey, I'm gonna join, can I join your graduation trip? And he had always been ignoring me, until January 2nd, when I asked him again. He's like, nah, too late, man, everything's already planned, okay? And I was like, but you haven't even booked the flight tickets or the Airbnb, like, you haven't done shit, you haven't even planned the itinerary, like, why can't I join? But at the end, Hanz is like, nope, you can't join, you can't join, you can't join. So I was like, fuck it. There's that. I didn't join, and now I'm gonna be one of the few only people who doesn't have any friends to hang out and doesn't have anywhere to go after graduation. I'm just gonna end off my school life on a sad, sour, depressing, lonely note, like I'm supposed to. Fuck me. It's sad. It's honestly sad, but I'm kind of over it. But it's so sad. And Tom was like, hey, I can help you, man. Like if you have the money, I can help you. I can ask Hanz once again. And I was like, it's over. It's too late. Hanz refused it. Hanz is the leader of the group, of the gang, very obviously, but it's too late. Anyways, during lunch, I decided to eat with Natalie and Grant, because at least they are, they treat me better than Hanz do. Yeah, and then Grant, during lunch, Ernest's gang also showed up, the more popular gang, the crazier gang. Ernest's gang showed up, and Ernest decided to sit with me because there's a vacancy beside me, and Grant did this whole deduction thing where he used different clues and things he observed and deduced that the gang is going to change their volleyball team's ball setter. And Ernest was like, oh my gosh. And Grant is like, yeah, because I'm the psychologist, which is not as catchy as I'm the detective. And Natalie joked, saying, haha, look, Grant has replaced you. You're not the detective anymore. And I'm like, I'm not butthurt because Grant is my friend now. Yeah, I mean, and I was like, yo, we can team up and do stuff, Honestly, I'm not the greatest detective ever, and deducing things and observing things and collecting clues, it's not really my thing. At the end of the day, I'm an artist, aka I'm useless, and people don't care about artists. Anyways, not much else. Apparently, Oliver had 3 graduation trips in the plan. Russell has 4. Oliver had one with Ernest gang, one with Edward and Brandon, one with the other gang with Selena, and Russell also had 4 other graduation trips. And I had 0, the perks of having no friends. So yeah, fantastic. And no money, I'm almost broke. So a very fucking depressing start to the year right there. To the decade, in fact. So we have January 3rd, where I had to do the additional information, my personal statement, which is about 1,000 words, and then the biology multiple choice questions pre-mock. And I'm at that point I was just really like down. I was in a moody mood, and I was like, I hope no one becomes me. I hope no one in this school becomes me, because my life sucks. My school life absolutely sucks. And not because there are terrible things that happen to me, but not enough things happen to me in general. So I hope nobody becomes me. So earlier on, Tom told me that he has a crush, and that crush and Ronald are actually dating now. So I felt sad for Tom, really sad for Tom. And then this other girl, Sammy, on January 1st, he did this whole Ask Me Anything thing on Instagram. And somebody asked her, when did she lose her virginity? And she said 16. Which, I mean, probably in the USA, it's very normal to lose your virginity before 18. But in Hong Kong, that is fucked, okay? Like you slut. So, I'm not slut shaming. It's a joke. It's a joke. Jesus. Yeah, people were baffled that she lost her virginity before 18, and I was too, and I have the right to. Fuck you all. So yeah, so all the questions that preceded the I lost my virginity at 16 thing were have you tried anal, have you masturbated, which positions have you tried. It was entertaining AF. Also, be gone, thought. I'm doing this. It's an inside joke. FBI, open up. Get it? Okay. Anyways, after school, me, Natalie, and Grant, we went to a cafe nearby my home. We studied some maths, but most importantly, we talked. And Natalie and Grant revealed that Anne now has a crush on Andy, which is surprising because Anne was friends with Topher not too long ago, and Topher warned Anne about Andy, saying, you know, you gotta stay away from Andy, man. Andy is a terrible person because of the whole blackmail blowjob video incident, and Anne doesn't know about the whole blackmail blowjob thing, but like Anne has a crush on Andy, which is weird, absolutely weird. And yeah, we did talk about a lot of stuffs. Natalie revealed that one day Ronald and Suki questioned her about why are you dating Grant? Like, what about Grant that you love so much? I guess people are just shocked that Natalie is into Grant, because Natalie is such a high league girl who's like mentally unstable and insane and cool and shit. Fuck you, okay? Natalie said that lately I've been very aggressive, but she's kind of wrong in a way. I've been very aggressive lately, but not in the recent months. I've been very aggressive lately in the recent year. It's just that I am finally my aggression finally surfaces. So yeah, there's that. I just hate reality, and I hate my life as well, because I've done nothing. I've achieved nothing. But yeah, there's that. Yeah, and Grant told me that actually Ronald, he's a very complicated person. He has a lot of dark, deep secrets in his mind, and I didn't know this before, but now that Grant has said it, I'm like, maybe all the people from 1C and 2C are to some extent fucked up crazy people. Like Natalie, Jordana, Jeffrey, Keith, they're all a little messed up. I was just traumatized by the events that took place in those 2 years. Linda, of course, Cedric, traumatized to the core. And a lot of people with problems. I mean, Mary's just like, she's still a puzzle. And yeah, people like, you know, Caroline and yeah, stuff like that. Anyways, January 4th. It was a Saturday, but we still had to go to school for the maths pre-mock exam, and I was actually early that time, and Mary was there, and yeah, during paper 1, I fucked up big time. I did terribly. I skipped so many questions. I don't know. I was very sleepy when I did the paper. Maybe that's why. And I was like, I was, you know, when you were falling asleep, and before you're conscious and before you're totally unconscious, there are 2 phases in the middle. One phase where you're starting to daydream and think about things, and then your thoughts, they started to be out of control, meaning that it's not your consciousness that's controlling the thoughts now, it's your subconsciousness. And then afterwards you fall flat, you're completely asleep, and I'm sort of into phase 1 because I'm that sleepy. And so I fucked up, and for paper 2 I tried my best, but I still fucked up. And then later on I rushed back up for my classroom to grab the physics book because there's going to be another physics pre-mock very soon. No, not another physics pre-mock, but a medical physics test. So we have a test or an exam, a pre-mock, a quiz, or a dictation every single fucking day. So, yeah, no stress, not at all. You know, I should be lucky. I should feel lucky that I'm, you know, in one piece right now. And mentally and psychologically speaking, I can still hang on. Like, I can still function mentally, and I can still keep my sanity, I guess. Still, almost. Barely, hardly. Which is good, because a lot of people have already gone insane. Anyways, afterwards, Grant, I was like, I wanted to have lunch outside. So I followed Grant and Kingsley and Ernest and Andy and Ronald and Dean and Oliver and had lunch together with their gang. And Grant spoke to me very often, and Ronald was like noticing it. I noticed that Ronald noticed. So there's some weird suspicion of the suspicion shit going on. Yeah. And also, apparently Jordana and Anne and Anne's mom had tea together, and Jordana said a lot of shit about Anne and about Grant because of the whole Anne and Grant date thing that happened very briefly. And then Olivia was actually pissed off, and she made an Instagram story dissing Jordana. I've talked about this, have I? But, you know, Jordana is a sociopath for sure, and Olivia might be a psychopath, and a fight between a psychopath and a sociopath might be the most boring thing in the world. January 6th. Coronavirus breaks out in mainland China City, and now everybody's scared shitless. And so later on, I need to wear masks as well, otherwise I may die. Anyways, on January 5th, on a Sunday, I went to a restaurant with Natalie and Grant once again, and we did revision on physics. And again, we did talk about stuff, but mostly we did revision. And on January 6th, I'm just thinking if I can add anything about that event. Not much, really. Anyways, on January 6th, Pink told me that Betsy also doesn't have a graduation trip. And later on, Tom told me that Derek doesn't have a graduation trip, and then apparently Maria doesn't have a graduation trip. So there are 4 people who doesn't have a grad trip, and 3 of them, me, Betsy, Derek, weren't invited because we have no friends and we're a bunch of introverts. So there's that. And apparently Betsy wanted to go to Mongolia, and nobody's on board with that. She's a travel hipster. I like that. On the same day, there's this whole discussion about if Russell had a crush on Jordana or if Jordana has a crush on Russell, and both and me, Anne, Leo, Tom also thinks that Russell loves Jordana, while Kingsley, Olivia, Natalie, Maria, Pink, and Hector think that Jordana loves Russell. And in my defense, Jordana is a sociopath, and her standards for boys is very high. So I think Jordana wants to use Russell more than she wants to date him, in my opinion, but I may be wrong. Anyways, during biology, I asked if Maria knows about Anne and Andy, and Maria and Maria's like, yeah, wait, how did you know? And Anne heard it, and Anne was like, wait, no what? And so I had to tell Anne about another secret I know about her, other than the Anne and Andy thing, in order to cover up the original secret that I'm referring to. So I asked Anne about the whole, Jordana had tea with you and your mom thing. And, yeah. And when Anne was, like, slapping my shoulders and was like, tell me, what do you know? Kingsley was like, okay, something suspicious is going on, which is awesome. I like to be suspected. I like to be a fucking suspect. Because people start to realize that I'm not just this simple, surface level, shallow guy. Like, I'm in the fucking game as well. And people need to respect me for that. Shit, man. Yeah. At the end of the day, Leo and Pink waited for me, and I was like, oh yeah, on that day I accidentally left my phone in my mom's car because my mom had to hand in the secondary school application form in a nearby high school. So I was in her car and I left my phone there, so I didn't have my phone throughout the whole day. But it wasn't that bad actually, and so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave school with Natalie and Grant on the bus, and I can talk to them, and I don't have to be like, looking at the views and stuff, so that, I won't get bored. So I left with Pink and Leo, and then after Pink was gone, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go back to school and, join up with Natalie and Grant. Except Natalie and Grant were already gone. Okay, I need to go now, so I'm gonna just wrap it up very quick with January 7th. Actually, on January 6th morning, Ronald saw me, Natalie, and Grant on that morning, and Ronald was like, wait, why are you always with them? Which is really suspicious. Like, Ronald is starting to, like, pick up things and shit. And I don't know if Ronald notices that I notice Ronald noticing me. If he does, respect to me, of course. Which is weird, because Ronald usually doesn't care about me, and I'm usually an invisible person, but I guess I'm not. Anyways, on January 7th, nothing important all that happened. I think my social status had increased because people have been starting conversations with me voluntarily more than I start conversations with people voluntarily, which is really fucking awesome. And I just, it's a weird feeling when socializing with people actually succeeds. Like, it's weird. And, but yeah, there's that. That's January 7th. January 8th, not much happened as well. Fell asleep in Chinese exam paper 1 practice, which is incredibly difficult. And me and Adam and Leo, we were having lunch together, and we talked about World War III and the whole, political stuff. Natalie and Tyrus love discussing that as well. And then after school, we have the English listening exam pre-mock, and Mary was behind me, and I opened the door wider for her. I hope that she notices that. And afterwards, I took a bus with Natalie and Grant back home. Dean was there.